Hey, everybody. It is, gosh, what is my name? I don't know. Look there on the bottom of the screen. Jimm, that's right. I'm Jimm, and you are tuned into the soul of the unexplained here on YouTube. And with me is my all-star cast of co-hosts, my brother from another mother, my very dear friend, co-creator and co-host of the Soul of the Unexplained, Mr. Roger Stokes. Roger, how are you today, sir?
Doing great. So excited to be back and talking about the things that we love. And as always, it's great to be here with you, Jim, and you, John.
Fantastic. And speaking of John, I have to say a very big hello to my favorite Denver Broncos fan, the greatest bass player to ever grace the stage of PhenomeCon, and just an all around awesome guy, Mr. John Nyberger. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for letting me swing by again.
Yes, absolutely. Always a pleasure to have you join us. And guess what? The Hall of Fame game happened this last week. So this coming up this Thursday is when preseason of the NFL officially begins. And
Holy cow.
yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared to see what's going to happen with my team.
I, you know what? I don't think I even looked at the preseason schedule.
Yep,
Holy cow.
yep.
Man, time is flying. There's so much other stuff going on.
There definitely is. So, folks, tonight we're going to talk about we're going to recap season 6 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, specifically episode 9, which is titled "Darting Around." And then once we wrap up our little discussion and recap on the most recent episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, we are also going to talk a little bit about this great event coming up in Vernal, Utah called PhenomeCon 2025, which all three of us are going to be attending that this year. And we're probably going to do a little bit of an update and a brief discussion on the progress being made on the UAP Disclosure Act, or the UAPDA, as they call it, and anything else that happens to come up that just might be of interest regarding all those things. So, gentlemen, let's get started recapping this really cool episode that we just had this past week of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. We're on season 6 of the docuseries, and this was episode 9. Again, the title of it was Darting Around. And the episode begins, it's kind of a really cool thing that they had going on to start the episode. It begins with Lunasan. They're talking with Jeremiah Pate from Lunasan. Now, Lunasan was a vendor that they brought out to the ranch. I want to say, what was it, Roger? Maybe season 3 or thereabouts. It was
Yeah,
a
back in
couple of years ago.
2022.
Yeah, about season 3 or thereabouts. And Jeremiah was basically talking to the team to let them know that he has updated data from the previous scan that Lunasan had done of the electromagnetic data in the atmosphere above the ranch. And the weakest band of electromagnetic energy that he showed from this most recent update of the data indicated that the weakest band of the electromagnetic energy that was shown above the ranch was 10 times higher than naturally occurring levels of electromagnetic energy occurring in the environment. But wait, there's more. It doesn't stop there, folks. So, the most intense reading that they had from this new update of data indicates that it was situated directly, no surprise, directly above the triangle and the Mesa drill site. And the significant thing about that is that the electromagnetic energy readings of that were 10,000 times greater than what is normally observed in naturally occurring in the environment. And the closest comparison to that, 10,000 times greater than you'd normally find would be something like a lightning strike, right? Now, a lightning strike, if you think about lightning, it's a very momentary thing, maybe a fraction of a second, maybe like a half of a second before the lightning is, appears and then is gone, right? So the difference with this is that this is not just, a brief flash of this energy.
Continuous.
it appears to be continuous and constant. And that really kind of has Travis and Eric and even Jeremiah, the founder and CEO of Lunasonde, kind of scratching their heads because they've never seen anything like that anywhere. And so the estimate is that the source of this electromagnetic energy is situated roughly 3 to 5 thousand feet above above the ground, right? And again, you always hear me saying there are no coincidences, right? Well, coincidentally, that 3 to 5 thousand foot height is precisely where they've experienced data corruption within the bubble. So, what are your thoughts on that, on this first phase of this episode, where they bring Jeremiah back on and he's done a reevaluation of the data that he did from the previous scan from a number of years ago, and says, this is really extraordinary, the new data that we're able to uncover on this to confirm that at the weakest point, it's 10 times greater than normally occurs in nature. But at the triangle, it's 10,000 times greater. Thoughts on that, John? We'll start with you.
As I often say, when it comes to the ranch, I don't know what to make of that at all. I mean, these numbers are like almost off the charts bonkers. Even just a few times above normal would be unusual. That would be enough to make people scratch their heads and send some scientists out to investigate. Like if there's some unusual source of electromagnetic energy
Mhm.
that's several times, let's say 10 times above background. They'd
Right.
be like, that's kind of weird. Let's go figure out what that is. But 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times above normal
Yeah.
is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers, coming from an invisible point source in the sky where
Yep.
there is nothing.
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
What could it possibly be emanating from? Like the fact that it exists is crazy enough, but there's nothing there.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
nothing there.
Nothing
Or
there.
is there?
Where's it?
Exactly.
What's just
Roger.
air?
Exactly. Roger, how about you? What is this? What do you make of all this?
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool that the way the episode started and that Lunasonde, Jeremiah Pate, and his company, that it was great to see that they're continually innovating and improving upon the technology that they use, and that he was able to go back and take a look at the data that he had captured before, and through the use of this new technology, and I don't know what goes into it, but being able to take those results from several years ago, back in 2022, and demonstrate and show that type of energy, the electromagnetic fields. Um, I mean, like you guys said, it's crazy that it was 10 times in the lowest area there on the ranch, but centered above the triangle, where we've known all sorts of anomalies to happen. I mean, they have documented UAPs in that area. They have documented GPS areas, equipment malfunctioning, right? So it's just insane that there would be something that's invisible to the naked eye producing that much electromagnetic fields or energy right there between the 3,000, 5,000 foot level. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't have that on my so-called bingo card for this episode. It's just incredible that you can look at the ranch and you can look up there. You just think, hey, this is beautiful sky, nothing there. But there is clearly, I think they have enough evidence now to say there is clearly something there. And the fact that it can produce so much continuous energy at all times, that just blows away the science that we have today because we don't have anything that can do that.
Right. And Travis, actually, I think it was Jeremiah said it would be on the order of gigawatts of energy, which is, again, insane. You're talking about lightning strike. That's the level of energy and the potency, if you will, of this energy that they've detected there at the ranch. So again, like you said,
Well,
John, go ahead.
I was just say, think about this. You have that much energy going on, flooding the area. like a lightning bolt, right? But it's
Mhm.
continuous. And how many times have they flown through that area? And as humans, they're fine. I
Mhm.
mean, if you got hit by a bolt of lightning, there's a very good chance you're going to die, or have serious damage to your body. And yet, whatever's producing this is making sure that it's not harmful to humans in a way that, like, if you're on a helicopter and you're flying through, or if you're on a plane flying through the area, you don't feel those effects. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. How
I'm
can that
con-
even
I'm convinced that
Right.
getting struck by lightning would turn you into Barry Allen.
happen? Yes.
Massive tip of the hat if those of you out there know who Barry Allen is. So, but no, absolutely, Roger. I completely agree. And the cool thing is, this wasn't even the coolest thing that we see in this episode, because from here the episode then proceeds to the cutaway to over at the Mesa drill site with Alex and his team from Mark Construction, and basically what has happened is they've gotten into the mesa roughly 260 feet or thereabouts, and a brand new tungsten carbide drill bit was completely worn down after only 2.5 hours of drilling into the second borehole. And again, this happened at roughly 260 feet into the second borehole. And furthermore, and this is what really kind of blows the mind, John, the drill bit did not heat up. It was something like that, from based off of what Travis says, it's not at all normal. He says that a drill bit going through something that hard, that dense, that for that length of time, 2.5 hours, that drill bit should have been pushing 1,000 degrees, to the touch. That just that the sheer friction and force would just cause that drill bit, under any other normal circumstance, because after all, it is Skinwalker Ranch, right? But again, here's this really solid drill bit that has been worn down to practically nothing over the space of 2.5 hours, and just as we've seen in the past, right, Roger? There was the last time that they had something like this similar. Again, it was with a different drilling team. It was a straight shot or sure shot, whatever. Aaron Blunt was his name, was the guy that ran the old drilling rig. And same thing, the drill bit was essentially cold to the touch, and that shouldn't be possible. That thing should be hot to the touch, right? Because of all the friction going on. So um, it shouldn't be possible. But yet again, like you're saying, John, that's like the one thing about the one defining characteristic of Skinwalker Ranch. It shouldn't be possible, but yet there it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those things that it truly doesn't make sense. I mean, a lot of this stuff is fantastical and bizarre, like we were just talking about. Insane amounts of energy in the middle of the sky with no apparent cause. That's almost fairy tale strange.
Mm-hmm.
But friction in drilling, this is a normal thing, right? Like
That's
you
that's
would never
it's
expect, oh, here you wore this unbelievably hard drill bit down
mm-hmm.
without getting it hot. That's not possible unless you have, like Travis said in the show, unless you have some incredible heat sink on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of that. Like
Right.
whatever it was digging into is so effective at absorbing heat that it didn't even raise the temperature of the
Right.
drill bit, which is nuts. It's
It really is.
absolutely nuts.
And
But
and Travis
I
has
don't know
said
what
in the
other
past
explanation
too.
is. What's that?
Well, I was going to say, Travis has said in the past too. I don't know if he said this on the TV show, but I know he did say it to the insiders, that one of the theories behind that is that it could be potentially, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but uh, a theory goes that some type of force field, right? Some type of force field that it's hitting up against at some point, right? And that causes no friction. There's no heat because of the way the force field is. Now, is it that? Most likely not, but it's just a theory out there of with some of the issues that they've had drilling up in the mesa and the difficulties that they've had going through. So what kind of tech would put off not only something that, like NASA uses, where you have those heat resistant shields on them and the tiles, but also something that would wear something down without friction could it be a force field of some point or some type? I mean, that's a good question to ask and keep in mind.
And speaking to that point, Roger, where the episode goes from that point, and also to tie into what you were just saying, John, is they then cut away to the spoils pit, and of course, archaeologist Chris Roberts, who's now a new team member for the folks there at the ranch. So he takes the team to take a look at the most recent spoils that they've gotten out of the mesa, and he says that the samples were found between roughly 250 and 290 feet into the second borehole, right about the same location where the drill bit was worn down to being practically nothing. So what Chris does is he runs a powerful magnet over the spoils. And sure enough, as we've seen in the past, uh, there's obviously metallic flakes, metallic fragments, if you will, of something that is shown up and sucked up, if you will, by the magnet. And upon further closer examination of it, Travis notices that this fragment is layered, right? And then they harken back to of course, the flakes of europium and tellurium that were discovered in the mesa back in, again, about what was it, season 3, maybe season 2, and they had it analyzed by the University of Utah, and they confirmed that it was clearly some kind of manufactured uh, metal, and using the same substances that are used in creating the heat tiles on spacecraft to prevent the craft from burning up during re-entry into Earth's atmosphere from having been in space or in orbit. Um, so again, guys, here's an instance where Travis says, as you mentioned, John, Travis says at that time, how can we not? This is me paraphrasing, but he's basically saying, here we have a drill bit that has been completely worn down. The tungsten carbide drill bit. It's one of the hardest substances out there that should be able to drill through pretty much any rock with ease, right? And
especially what you'd expect in the mesa.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like going through butter.
Yeah,
Yeah, sandstone.
it's
Yeah,
sandstone. Yeah,
give me a
and
break.
and so it wears it down, and there's no heat from it, from the friction that you would assume would be caused by that kind of drilling, and the heat seems to dissipate, like you're talking, John, a heat sink. Again, if these metal fragments, now the ones that they discovered in this episode, we haven't gotten the test results on those yet, at least as I recall, but same kind of thing. It looks to be very similar to what they found earlier in the mesa, that is definitely appears to have the same properties of ceramic tiles that basically can absorb the massive heat like you're talking about, John.
It'd be
So,
interesting to see if they did a heat test because I don't remember hearing about this.
right,
Hit the metal pieces and the ceramic pieces maybe with some sort of heat source and check the other side to see what the
right.
temperature is, to see are they insulators, are they good absorbers? Like what are their characteristics when it comes to heat capacity and heat flow through the material? That would be pretty interesting, I think.
Exactly. Excellent point. So, so again, the biggest question for all of this though is, what is a metal and a substance like that doing that deep inside the mesa? Why is it there? And we don't know if this is genuinely part of this big object, that ground penetrating radar and all other data indicates that there's some kind of massive 400-foot long object buried inside the mesa, which is the reason why they're drilling both of these boreholes on either side, so that they can run testing equipment to get a kind of a better analysis of what's truly inside that mesa. So, again, it's a mystery. The fact that they're even finding this is astounding, but more puzzling is the fact of what the hell is this stuff doing inside a mesa out in the middle of, remote northeastern Utah, right? I mean,
Because that's
that's,
one thing we do know, for without a doubt, the ceramic and the metal materials are
yes,
manufactured materials.
yes,
I'm not saying man-made because we don't know,
we don't know.
but they are made. Those are not naturally occurring materials. So what in the hell are they doing that deep inside a mesa in the middle of nowhere, Utah?
Exactly. Roger, any thoughts on that before we move on?
No, I just think I'll echo the same sentiments. It's what they've been pulling out of the mesa are items like we're talking about the ceramic, the tiles, having that being layered, the ceramic being, can be damaged, but then it's self-healing. I mean, why is that stuff there? When was it put there? How long ago? And, what's the purpose for it being in a mesa that if you were just to walk by, me being a Utah native, I've seen plenty of mesas in my life, and there's nothing, if I were to, you know, years ago walk by this mesa or whatnot, I wouldn't think anything different, right? There's nothing there that's saying, "Oh, hey, come look inside me." So it makes me wonder. It asks that question of what is in there, how is it related to all the other activity going on, and what's truly keeping um, making things happen to the team there so that they can't get in as quick as they would like. What is truly hiding under there? And I mean, we've been told anything from, hey, that could be some type of UFO or UAP that crashed there long ago and was buried. It could be, who knows, right? Maybe a
Right.
meteor, maybe something extraterrestrial that, we don't know. But whatever it is, it's super exciting. And as of right now, I guess that's why we have to keep tuning in. It's unexplainable. Um, and yeah, it's the Mesa. And I know because people have talked about this for a long time of how frustrating they think the Mesa is, and people want to blow it up and just, get down in there, find out what it is. But you can't do that. I mean, there's Native American, art on the mesa. It's not something you just go in and blow up, right? So
Right.
it's going to be, if you're, again, we've talked about this in the past, you have to play the long game on this, and I think they're doing the best that they can. It's not that they are not trying anything and everything to get in there, but they're doing it as fast as possible and safely as possible. You would hate for something to collapse or somebody to get hurt or whatnot there because I can imagine that is with all the boulders and things that they're doing, you just have to put safety first and you just can't go around blowing up things. So I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a lot of the talk has started to die down. Usually, you find out the ones that say, "Oh, well, just blow it up," just quit messing around, just put some TNT in there and just blow up that mesa. No, because among everything else, Brandon wants to ensure that his team are good stewards of the property,
The land,
and
yeah.
you gotta take care of the natural. They should be doing everything that they can to preserve the natural beauty of the ranch and the natural order of the ranch, and they've been doing just that. And it just speaks to again the character and integrity that the team out at the ranch have, and it trickles all the way down from Brandon Fugel clear down to the wonderful guys that are there with boots on the ground there at the ranch. But yeah, that mesa is just such a that's one of the big mysteries of the ranch is what is inside that mesa. How is it that they're able to see UAPs fly into it and fly out of it? Solid rock objects. How is this happening? So it's yeah, it's I'm going to sound like a broken record in saying it, but Skinwalker Ranch is the gift that keeps on giving, right? so
Yep. Hey,
so
I
from
had a quick question before we move
sure.
on too far.
Hmm.
This is kind of going back to the energy source in the sky. Did they ever say anything about what wavelengths or frequencies that energy was at? I don't remember them saying that. Like, is it like broad spectrum? Like, was it across a
Yeah, that's a good
wide range
question.
of frequencies,
That's a
or
good
was it
question. I don't think
focused?
they
I don't think they
specified.
ever said. I think
Yeah,
that's kind of important to
That
find
would be a
out.
great question for the team at PhenomeCon for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't
I
think they.
just thought of that I don't think they said, and that would be unbelievably interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Completely agree. So from the Mesa and the discovery of these this additional metal flakes, we transition to a shot where we see the Lunasonde team coming onto the ranch, as well as Brandon and Cameron Fugel flying in on the helicopter, and then another individual who we haven't seen since about season 4, and that would be a gentleman by the name of Brock Wilson of Wasatch Helicopter is the name of the company that he has. And so they fly in to assist Lunasonde with this experiment for a new system called DART, DART. And DART happens to stand for, it's an acronym, of course, but it stands for Dynamic Aerial Research Test Bed. And it transmits low frequency radar pulses down that are then reflected back to the system and with all of the various sensors. And they can detect any sort of anomalies both in the air and below the DART unit, including, and I thought this was really interesting, Roger, hundreds of meters beneath the surface in extremely high resolution. So this, folks, is what I was the most excited for, to have Lunasonde coming back onto the ranch, because we've heard for years, long before Brandon Fugel ever bought the ranch, that there was something underground, some kind of, the rumors and the legends are that there's some kind of an underground base, whether that base is manned and operated by humans or non-human intelligence, who knows, right? But that's been the claim for, decades, that there's some kind of facility, some kind of activity, if you will, underneath Skinwalker Ranch. And the last time that Lunasonde was out to the ranch, they did a scan that did some of that underground imaging. And you guys, I'm sure, remember what the return results were, that they did, in fact, find several voids, or, for want of a better term, passageways that had metallic content in them. And they were fairly wide and fairly tall passageways that were going from the mesa down into the area of the triangle and out toward, I believe, toward the western edge of the ranch, over toward Homestead 2, and maybe even heading south, if I remember. And again, this is going from memory for me back to the last time that Lunasonde was on the show. But now they've got a new system with which Jeremiah Pate has described as being several orders of magnitude better and of higher resolution and higher accuracy than the instrumentation that they brought onto the ranch back in 2023 or thereabouts. So, gentlemen, I was really excited. 2022, I guess, is when it was. But still, this is what had me really excited. So, Roger, kind of give us an idea of where it unfolded from here with the Lunasonde experiment and the helicopters.
So yeah, the what was interesting is that they got everything set up, ready to go. They so basically what they were going to do was a broom pattern, right, with the Lunasonde helicopter, and the DART system that they had, and so they were going up there to start that. Now, what I find interesting is that as soon as, because they have two helicopters, you got the Lunasonde team in one, and you have Cameron flying the other with Travis Taylor and Caleb Bench, just to monitor. And as soon as they get up there, of course, Lunasonde starts having they're seeing just a few errors there when they get up there and ready to go. The first thing that happens, which was interesting, is that they're supposed to be broadcasting at 18 megahertz. Travis, Eric, I think Sam, and at the Ark, nobody was able to pick up that 18 gigahertz signal. Now, Lunasonde, Jeremiah and his team confirmed that data was coming in, and whatnot, but they were not able to nobody else was actually able to see that. I think one of the interesting things that happened after that, just looking at my notes here, is that Travis all of a sudden picked up the 1.6 gigahertz signal. And he used his directional device, and it was coming from the center of the triangle, right? That was the place that it was originating from. Now, nobody there was broadcasting a 1.6 gigahertz signal. So why was it being broadcast? Where was it being broadcast? Right? It's one of those mysteries that we still have. Um, and from there, it was what's really crazy to me, and because there was a lot of stuff all happening at once. But with this new DART system, obviously, Jeremiah Pate up high there in the helicopter was saying that the DART was starting to throw them errors as they were flying um, up above there, trying to do their sweep. And he measured that it was 47 degrees Fahrenheit um, up there, and that the system all of a sudden showed that it was overheating. Now, it should not overheat. They had looked at that. It was really cold up in the air. What was interesting is he said, I can't remember the exact Celsius measurements, but that translated into the DART system saying that inside of it, it was 170 degrees. Now,
Wow.
that's extremely hot. Um, and what they figured as they were talking about that is that it was some kind of error. That there was no way that this could be happening. Something was, I don't know if manipulating the equipment, but it was telling the equipment that there is a problem, right? And so at this point, they had to abort and go down and take a look at why they were getting those errors and kind of reset and refocus and talking about that. So so I guess there's two parts to it, right? The first flight and then the second flight. And so I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on that first flight and the errors that started happening with the DART machine and just people not being able to get that signal, that 18 gigahertz signal that they were broadcasting.
Yeah, for me, the thing that I found the most interesting, I don't know if this was the first or the second flight that this happened on, but um, when Cameron was flying over in the helicopter and was trying to talk to Thomas, Thomas couldn't pick up the communication at all. It's like there was nothing there as Cameron was flying overhead. And
Right.
nobody else on the ranch could hear Cameron either, if I'm not mistaken, which is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've seen that specific anomalous kind of type thing happen on the ranch where, somebody's flying over in a helicopter and they're clearly talking because we had the camera up there in real time there alongside from the interior of the helicopter with Cameron, and he's clearly talking, and nobody on the ground can hear him.
Yeah,
Which I think,
communication was tampered with, cut, severed while they were inside and going over the triangle
yeah.
inside the
So I
bubble.
so I found that really interesting, and also I found the temperature fluctuation. It's almost like, and again, this is the ranch being the ranch, right? For me, it's an instance of it looks like whatever that intelligence or intelligences are out at the ranch don't want certain data to be uncovered. And so it seems like they're purposely interfering with this DART device that Lunistan is trying to put out there. So I got to say, I'm really overall, I'm not surprised. It doesn't surprise me at all. John, how about you?
Well, what's couple of things. First of all, I think regarding the 18 megahertz signal, I believe it was that was coming from the DART, it made me think that they probably need to start avoiding um, wireless communications whenever feasible. So for the people in the helicopter, I don't know if they did this, but instead of relying on communication wireless down from where they are to the DART that's hanging below them, they probably should have had some sort of long cable sending telemetry directly, just hook it up, hook it right to a laptop or some sort of receiver, because something is messing with wireless communications there. But the one that struck me the strangest was the lidar. You know, because not only do you, I think you were right. This was the first time we'd had a situation where a helicopter was flying above and communication would just completely cut out,
Mhm.
and then at some point would pick up again. I don't
Right.
recall that ever happening. If it did, I don't think it made the air.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
but Jim Royston, I believe it was had the lidar going at one point, and when the helicopter was flying through that region again, at the same time they were losing communications, he also lost reflections from the mesa back
Yep.
to the lidar device. So that light, the lidar signal, the lasers,
Hmm.
was going somewhere and not coming back.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was being blocked or
Yeah.
erased.
Well, yeah, it was exactly. What the hell? Like, was something just absorbing, you know,
Yeah.
certain frequencies of electromagnetic energy, but not others?
Mhm.
You know, because notice that this almost never affects visual electromagnetic frequencies, and everything's just some wavelength along this
Or
EM spectrum, right?
or does it, and we're just none the wiser for it because we
Well,
can't
maybe
see
that's
it.
true. But
Right.
it's just weird that, no one ever says, "Oh, the helicopter is flying," and then I couldn't see it anymore, and
Right.
then it picked up again. It's never anything like that.
Well,
It's
there
like it's
there.
like
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. There was an instance of that, though, when in the Blob episode, when the helicopter flew behind and it actually disappeared from view and then
yeah, at
reappeared.
night, at
So
night.
yeah. So
But during the day, when I mean, like, so lidar, the light from the lidar system disappears during the day. That's an electromagnetic beam that is not being returned.
right.
That is a real thing that's going out and not coming back. There
Hmm.
is there are radio signals going out that are not making it to their destination. So something is stopping in a wavelength selective way certain EM frequencies from getting through that area.
Hmm.
So it's just bonkers to me. Like, why does it select some and not others? Like
Yeah.
during when the communications to the when the radio stopped working and the lidar stopped working, those are very different parts of the EM spectrum. You got radio frequency and the frequency of the lidar, the wavelength it's using.
Hmm.
Why would those be affected, but not visual wavelengths of light?
It, it
You
reminds me of the
know,
lidar that they took, um, where I'll just, for a lack of a better word, the theoretical wormhole is. So right there on that ground there is that just that black hole, right? And they've seen that underneath the ground and they've seen that up above. And it almost makes me wonder because I think about if this were a science fiction story and I were writing it, like whatever technology's there, they have the ability to turn it off and on. It doesn't open up, doesn't allow UAPs to come through, right? It's definitely not within our understanding of our own physics, but what if that's happening that somehow what's ever controlling this is, and they can control the wavelength, whatever, they open that up, whatever that may be, and that's why they get the returns, and that's where the communication goes because it puts up something, like, I mean, you pass that event horizon on a black hole, you just get, it's gone, right? You're not going to get any returns back from that. So I'm curious, does it have anything to do with those LiDAR scans that they've done before and whatever that anomaly is there, that's the intelligence there can be like, oh, all right, they're going to send LiDAR, whatever it is, they switch it on or they turn it off. I don't know. It's just kind of one of the theories that's just been popping through my head is that some of the things that we don't get returns on or crazy returns on is because something in physics is affecting something there, and it's just not the place in our physics that we understand yet.
right? Like, and it might not be that they're being absorbed or blocked. For all we know, the whole idea of this portal might be real, but it's selective. A portal opens up only for certain wavelengths of electromagnetic energy, so that stuff disappears, but the visual spectrum doesn't, or
Right.
chunks of a green laser disappears, but you can still see the stuff behind it, stuff like that. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Could be similar because yeah, whatever it is, it's very selective, and it seems to be able to change the selectivity
Mhm.
to
If
some to
only
some.
they had an astrophysicist out there.
If only.
Right.
What they need is someone who understands this stuff.
So and then from there, Roger, they finally get everything back online, and then they run the experiment, and everything appears to be a success. And then, as we always see happen at the end of the episode, they get together in the command center to review the data. And there's some pretty interesting things. And I guess one of the things that obviously the thing that I was looking forward to the most was, is there any more detail on these alleged passageways or tunnels that are subterranean, that are underground, that run into and out of the mesa? And the answer is yes. They got more data indicating that there was a large, really large, called it a void, but he basically said this is where it goes, and they showed us a diagram there of how it runs, basically right along the triangle there up into the mesa. And for what purpose is anybody's guess. Is there in fact a base of some kind? Is it a ultra top secret government facility that's deep underground, or is it some non-human intelligence of some kind that has some kind of an operation going on underneath Skinwalker Ranch? And the answer to those questions is we don't know. It's still too early for us to know. And who knows? Maybe that's one of the issues that we'll get a little more clarity on as we head into the remaining episodes of this season and even beyond into season 7, which they are in the process of filming right now as we speak. So that's this episode, and we'll kind of wrap it up here. I'll give each of you guys a chance to chime in here. But this episode for me is kind of like the last couple episodes have been, where it's been really ultra focused on the science. And that is what really, for me, moves that needle forward, because they're getting repeatable results. We're seeing an instance where Lunasan had these great readings that came out 3 years ago, and now they're coming back and they've got new, better technology, taking a look at the data that they already previously captured, as well as capturing new data. And the new data seems to support what they discovered back in 2022, which for me, you don't get much more exciting than that. Okay, maybe getting an actual confirmation of, something, some kind of, artificial structure. Um, but it looks like we're moving toward that type of a possibility here, that there may be non-natural tunnels or passageways that are underneath and inside the mesa that go into the Skinwalker Ranch property. And again, for what purpose is anybody's guess, and we can speculate from morning till night. And it's one of those things that keeps me coming back, because again, we've heard these stories about how there's plenty of odd and freaky stuff that happens on the surface and above Skinwalker Ranch, but there's just as many stories about stuff alleged to be taking place underground. And everything from people hearing what they said sounds like heavy machinery and tremors and whatnot coming from underground on the ranch. So this episode kind of, for me, moved that needle forward, because again, they're focusing on the science and trying to figure out what exactly is going on here. And we have the mesa. That is a big mystery. We have the triangle and the anomaly that occurs there. That's a huge mystery. Then we have all of the weird stuff, like the remains of what might be a dire wolf being discovered. And it's like, and now we're getting further confirmation that there is in fact what appear to be tunnels and passageways underground in Skinwalker Ranch, deep underground. And why are they there? Who put them there? that just adds more layers to this, crazy, ridiculously exotic onion, if you will, known as Skinwalker Ranch. And I, for one, I love it. I love seeing these scientific episodes because they are not boring to me. Because what they're doing is they're actually helping to substantiate some of the more, out there claims that people have made in the past that I myself dismissed until we started seeing this data that says, well, not so fast. And again, I cannot, for me, overemphasize the importance of getting those repeatable results. And it seems like, again, that trend is continuing. And so for my end of it, I thought it was a fantastic episode. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. And yeah, I just two big thumbs up for me. And I'm drinking my Mandarin Jarritos, and I'm going to drink to that. So, Roger, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a great episode, and I really like the way they closed it out. One thing I wanted to add in all of this is part of that data discovery was that Jeremiah Pate, looking at what he called clouds of energy that follows the river through there, and that's high electromagnetic energy, right? And so the crazy stuff that they've had in the GPS errors, like in the South Field and in the I think they call Dry Gulch Creek, right, with the GPS going weird, showing them underground. Like all these things are starting to make sense. They seem to be connected to this just continuous river of energy that is flowing through Skinwalker Ranch. What makes me really excited is that Jeremiah, like he and his team had 3 days to put the data together, and what he called was this is our preliminary data that we're presenting to you. That means that I know we're going to hear from him and his team again as they have more of a chance to go through everything, and I can't wait to see what more they uncover. Like you said, all in all, I think the scientific investigation, what they put together as far as the data that they've collected, experiments going wrong, it certainly points to definite high strangeness on the ranch. We know that there's something that we can't see physically with our own eyes there above the triangle. There definitely appears to be some type of bubble that has clear boundaries that affects equipment and GPS signals. What does it all mean? That's what keeps me coming back to watching The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Um, I do believe the Native American legends that they've had out there. Um, I think Native Americans are definitely way more in tune with nature and things that are happening. And I think that that lends credence to all the legends that we've heard out there at the ranch and over, uh, a generation, more generations of just the different things that people have witnessed out there. So to me, it's exciting that it's being backed up by science now.
Fantastic. John, how about you?
I was thinking back while you were talking, I was trying to find a photo of the scan that showed where the voids were,
Hmm.
or what they called a void. And there was the little one closer to the drill site, but then there was the big one off to the left,
To the
further west
left,
of the range.
further
Right.
I was
west. Yeah.
just looking at a photo, and the edges of it's in the mesa, but the a couple of the edges of it come down to and touch the road. I wonder if they're going to drill in over there somewhere, like a Curse of Oak Island type drilling, a little bit bigger hole, a big
Yeah.
borehole, and go down, or maybe a little horizontally into the just off the road and see if there's something down there. I mean, I don't know if they're, and I can't remember if they said this. I think they did mention this, that it's not necessarily a void like empty space.
Hmm.
It might just be a region of significantly lower density than what's around it, which is
Hmm.
still weird, you know.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that would be kind of interesting, to find out if they're doing a little bit of extra drilling over there, maybe,
Yeah.
something large enough to, fit a man down in there and go exploring if there actually is a void there.
Right.
Maybe some spelunking. That would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, folks, Skinwalker Ranch is the gift that just keeps on giving. Just when you think you've seen it all, the ranch just says, "Here, hold my beer, watch this," and we continue consistently to see things that uh, astound, confound, and just flat out amaze and mystify, stupefy, you name it. Any adjective you want to throw at it is applicable because it's just there's no place else on earth that's quite like it. And I think it's true testament to the fact that we're now heading into the team is currently filming what will become season 7 right now, and I think the investigation that's going on at Skinwalker Ranch is extremely important, not just for fanboys like me, but the ramifications. There are implications that for all of humanity, if we figure out even a little bit of this mystery as to what's out there, um, it's pretty extraordinary to think of what some of the possibilities might be. And so, to that end, gentlemen, I'm looking forward to the episode 10 next week. This week, actually, just in 2 more days, and we've got along with this episode 10, we've only got 4 more episodes after that. So we are kind of starting to get into that home stretch for season number 6 of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. So, gentlemen, let's change gears now and talk about PhenomeCon 2025. And for those of you that don't know what PhenomeCon is this great conference that the city of Vernal in Uinta County, which is the county that Vernal resides in, and they put on this great conference every September. And of course, they have the guys from Skinwalker Ranch out there, but it also brings together multiple areas of the strange and the unexplained. So you have folks that are into the ghost hunting and paranormal stuff that have a big presence there. You also have Bigfoot and Sasquatch aficionados and hunters that are there that show up for it. And of course, quite obviously, the UAP community has a very strong showing there as well. And this year happens to be the 5th year of PhenomeCon, and I'm proud to say that I have been all 5 years. I'm a 5 year veteran of PhenomeCon, and Roger, John, I'll whoever wants to chime in first here. I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time believing that we're only about three weeks away from PhenomeCon kicking off again and hanging out with you guys. I mean, that's gonna be awesome. I am just, it's gotten to the point to where PhenomeCon, my calendar year revolves around PhenomeCon. How about you guys? Roger, we'll start with you.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you guys will go along with me on this, but
No,
I
I'm
want to
not. I'm
say,
not taking cocaine on the trip. Just not gonna do it.
okay, meth. How about that? Will that work?
No,
Okay. Hey kids, say no to drugs.
that's right.
Yes, I don't condone illegal drug use of any kind. That being said, what I wanted to say is that I feel like I'm a 5 year veteran of going to the conference. Now, um, 2 years ago, I had my ticket spot. I planned everything with Jimm, the insider family event, and all that. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it due to the passing of my mom. And so I feel like I was there in spirit, and I'm confident to say, if you guys agree with me, that I could be considered a 5 year veteran because I have been all the other years and I was there in spirit. And I had so many kind people reach out to me at PhenomeCon and record stuff during that really difficult time. So um, I love PhenomeCon as Jimm, just as much as Jimm, and I can't tell you how many it is. It truly is such a special time of year, and to think that Jimm, John, it's literally in our backyards, and we can drive there. Takes a little bit, but it's something that I am so grateful that it's so close, and it just attracts so many like-minded people. And I can't tell you how many people I've met and I'm sure you can attest to this, John, as well as you, Jim, that we've made some really, really cool connections there and have met some really, really just beautiful, awesome, amazing people that I never would have dreamed just 5 years ago that I would even run into. And people from all walks of life and different backgrounds, but with all the same mindset, curiosity, people wanting to share their experiences, knowing that like-minded people have had those same experiences. Um, I've been to different conferences throughout my lifetime, and this truly is a very special conference to me. And I love the fact that, you can, as Jim, you stated, you can meet whatever field, whatever experiences you've had. There are people that can share. You can swap stories. You know that you're not alone. It's not just, oh, hey, this is an alien con or whatnot, and people are dressing up. It's PhenomeCon covers the gamut of all things unusual, all things strange, but that people are not. People there are wonderful, and I've made so many friendships. And again, it is like it's family. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to talk about it because I don't think I can do it justice. But going back there and talking with people and spending time like with you guys, it just feels like anytime we go back to Vernal and we're there, we're home. And that's a great feeling.
It really is. And I just want to add an amen to everything that you said because, yeah, I mean, it's why, the second year of PhenomeCon was when Roger and I started organizing what we now call the Skinwalker Ranch Insider Family Reunion. And what it was during the second year of PhenomeCon, we were just looking for an opportunity to get a lot of our fellow insiders to provide an opportunity for them to get together to hang out and get to meet each other on the evening before the madness of PhenomeCon begins. And so, back in the second year that PhenomeCon started in 2022, Roger and I did this Skinwalker Ranch Insider Family Reunion, and it was such a hit. And that was actually where we met you, was at this Skinwalker Ranch Insider Family Reunion. Now, we didn't call it the Insider Family Reunion back then. It was just the Insider uh, meetup, right? and But it's gotten to that point to where, as Roger just illustrated, we have formed some truly wonderful connections with a lot of people from varying and diverse backgrounds from different countries. And it's really, like you said, Roger, I've been to a lot of other conferences covering a wide range of topics, and I have never come across one that is anything remotely close to how cool and how absolutely enjoyable and just, life affirming the experience at PhenomeCon is. And it's when it gets right down to it, it has changed my life, and it's changed my life for the better. And you guys know I was never, when Roger and I were contemplating going to PhenomeCon, the very first PhenomeCon in 2021, was it, Raj? And we were like, what are we gonna, what do we expect? Is there going to be, the crazy tinfoil hat UFO nuts, and people that just aren't grounded in reality, that just want so desperately to believe in something strange and unusual that they will believe in anything that's outlandish and ridiculous. And that's not at all the kind of person that I am. It's not the kind of person Roger is. um, John is a Broncos fan, so of course he is a little bit like that. Sorry, had to get that little jab in there, John. But no, folks. In all seriousness, PhenomeCon is it's something that I look forward to every year. The friendships that I've made are truly special to me, and it just again, John, it takes me back to that how you and I met was at that function that Roger and I sponsor every year, and we're doing it again this year. And once again, the event is sold out, and it usually sells out well in advance. So looking forward to that. And in fact, got a lot of groundwork to do in the next 2 weeks to make sure that it goes off without a hitch like it has the last couple of years. But John, tell us just kind of briefly, what is PhenomeCon to you? What is the experience that you've gotten? What are the biggest takeaways for you from PhenomeCon?
Yeah, just echo everything you guys have said. It does kind of feel like home, but since I grew up literally an hour from there and have been to Vernal uh, hundreds and hundreds of times in my life, I'm already used to the area. I know the area,
Mhm.
so that already made it feel more like home. But then when you see the people, it is just so unbelievably cool to be walking around the convention center complex or building, and just you keep seeing familiar faces,
Mhm.
and everybody just kind of has the same vibe and the same energy. And especially the second year for me, which was last year, I'm getting to see these people again.
Right.
It's like, and now this year is going to be crazy because there's even more people that we're seeing, again. And it really is. It's kind of like family. Some of the friends I've made are going to be lifelong friends.
Mhm.
You and Roger and Annie and Jay and Michelle and just some
Yeah.
of these people. They're going to be friends forever, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful. I can't recommend it highly enough. I mean, I wish they had a bigger convention center so they could squeeze some more people in there because I mean it's a big place, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just such a neat environment that I wish more people got to participate in it.
Yeah, and Vernal, folks, for those of you that have never been to Vernal, Vernal is a beautiful little town in on the eastern edge of northeastern Utah, just very close up by where the Colorado border is. And it's the atmosphere in Vernal is so welcoming and inviting, and the people that live there, uh, again, Roger and I, we've been going to PhenomeCon since 2021, since the very beginning,
Isn't
and
I think it's 2020.
well, was it 2020? Okay, there you
2020,
go.
yeah, because this
Yeah,
is the 5 year. So
yep. So yeah, folks. I mean, it was like really, we've always had a good experience, and every time one of the locals there in Vernal finds out that we're in town for PhenomeCon, they're all like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's," and it's like it's now starting to become part of the mainstream culture there in Vernal, and it's nice because it's still a small enough conference that it hasn't gotten too big for its shoes, too big for its own head, if you know what I mean. And they still provide a truly extraordinary experience for people that are curious minds like me and Roger and John, or people that are just really passionate about any one of a number of these subjects that pertain to the unexplained, right? Whether it's ghosts and hauntings, or uh, shadow people, UFOs, UAPs, cryptids like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Yeti, you name it. It's a little bit of something for everybody. And to talk to your point just a moment ago that you made, John, the list of people that are coming and presenting at PhenomeCon this year, I didn't think they were going to be able to top what they did last year, and this year blows that out of the water. Just here's just a quick sampling of some of the people that are presenting at PhenomeCon this year. Now, of course, you've got all the guys from Skinwalker Ranch are going to be presenting because it's quite literally in their backyard. And Tom Winterton of Skinwalker Ranch is one of the guys that organized and helped create this conference. So obviously, Skinwalker Ranch guys are going to be there. Um, Russ Acord and Dr. Maria Mayor of Expedition Bigfoot are coming back yet again. They always put on a fantastic presentation. You've got a whole bunch of paranormal investigators. You've got Dave Schrader coming back. He's one of my favorites. You've got Greg Lawson, the paranormal detective, who's, I believe, going to be the MC again this year. Cypress Paranormal, based out of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. They're a lot of fun to talk to and hang out. But then we've also got Jack Osborne is going to be there this year. George Knapp is returning. George Norrie is coming for the very first time. That's right. You're getting both of the hosts of Coast to Coast AM are coming to PhenomeCon. Both George Knapp and George Norrie. We're getting, of course, Jay Stratton, which is always his presentations are always just amazing, jaw-droppingly good. We have Nick Pope is returning, and we've got all the guys from the Ancient Aliens. So not just Nick Pope, but Giorgio. I know I'm going to butcher his last name, but the guy with the hair, Giorgio is going to be there for the first time, and William Henry is coming back to be there at PhenomeCon. This will be, I think, his third time coming. Dave Politis is coming back to PhenomeCon this year. The missing 411 guy is going to be there as well. So, folks, there is just literally no shortage of really cool people, really exciting speakers and presenters that are going to be there. And then, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the amazing food that you also get at PhenomeCon, because they have these food trucks that come out during the day. And Raj, we got to get tacos, man. That's kind of like our thing. We always hit the taco truck at PhenomeCon. Sometimes more than once. Okay, definitely
True.
more than once. And then there's great restaurants there. There's a lot of add-on activities that you pay extra for. Some dinners that Roger and I are doing, like the Skinwalker Ranch behind the scenes dinner that we attend every year. And then of course the big bash at the end of PhenomeCon on the final day on Saturday is when they have a costume contest, a cosplay contest, as well as a great kind of like finger foods type dinner that they provide. And I can't remember who this year's entertainment is. Last year they had a band that they had a DJ for the first hour or so, and then they had this band that came on and played for like 3 hours or something like that. So who knows
ridiculous.
Who knows who the entertainment's going to be to close out PhenomeCon this year? Any ideas, John?
No, I don't think they're letting those guys back.
Yeah,
I,
I wouldn't be surprised, especially that guy that had the cowboy hat and wore the white pants. He was scary. Yeah, I hope he doesn't come back.
I hear that those guys just may hitchhike on in and just crash the party anyway, but that's just rumor. I mean, don't rely on me. I have no knowledge of these guys that are in Hitchhiker.
So you think the hitchhiker effect is going to make an appearance at PhenomeCon? Is that what you're saying, Roger?
Yes, I think the Hitchhiker effect will make an appearance at PhenomeCon, and people will take it with them everywhere they go.
Oh, good heavens. God help us all.
Yes.
So yes, folks, quite obviously, the band Hitchhiker, of which John and I are proud members of, that is the band that features Dr. Travis Taylor, as well as Jay Stratton, and famed journalist Micah Hanks, and our brother and partner in crime, Mr. Caleb Hanks, as well. All six of us will be performing another show to close out PhenomeCon 2025 on the final day of PhenomeCon. And I'm a little worried because this year I'm bringing my wife, and possibly both of my sons might be coming to watch on
Jim,
the
I don't
last
know
day.
if you're if they're going to be able to handle the words that come out of your mouth sometimes.
Oh, come on. My family, no, that's not going to shock them. What might shock them is Travis unfiltered.
It's true. It's true.
Yes, indeed. And Roger, of course, will be our bartender, the band's official bartender again. And this year we're going to give Roger permission to hit people that try stealing our beer and bourbon.
Yes, that is for the band only. And if you're in production or you have anything to do with Skinwalker Ranch, that's wonderful for you. But if you're not part of the band, you stay away from the alcohol. And yes,
At least in that one corner. The
that's
stuff
right.
that's
My
right by the
wife and I will
stage.
be there to say no.
No, 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 no. Yes,
There's a,
I
indeed.
there's
don't
a,
I
there,
don't I don't
there's
want to report back to Travis again saying, by the way, all the guys stole your beer and stuff, and then have him give me that disappointed Dr. Travis Taylor look. It almost killed my soul last year.
yeah,
So
yeah. You
this
don't want to
year,
go to Travis and say, Travis, Nick Pope drank all your beer again, you
That's
know.
right. We'll just blame it on Pope.
Yeah,
Blame it
yes,
on Nick
yes.
Pope.
It was Nick, and yeah,
Although
it
Giorgio
was.
will be there this year, we might be able to blame it on him too.
That's true. That's true. I'll say, yeah, there were some ancient aliens here, and I couldn't stop them.
That's right. Most definitely. So, folks, we're actually going to do the next episode of the podcast. We're going to do, it's going to be our very popular annual primer of PhenomeCon, where we're going to spend the whole episode breaking down each day of PhenomeCon and what the activities will be and what people that have never been to PhenomeCon can expect. Whether you're a Skinwalker Ranch insider or just happen to be somebody that has an interest in such things. Again, the conference takes place from September 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And again, that's in Vernal, Utah. It takes place at the UAPDA Conference Center. And if you want to find out more about it, I believe tickets are still available, and you can get them as either a single day pass, or you can get just Friday and Saturday, or you can get a 4-day pass. And the prices obviously range depending on which one of those you want to do and which days you want to attend. Roger and I, of course, we always spring for the 4-day pass because we love going there. And we, of course, show up a day early so that we can do our Skinwalker Ranch Insider family reunion on the evening before PhenomeCon. But if you want to find out more details on PhenomeCon, go to www.phenomecon.net. That's PHENOMECON.net. PhenomeCon.net. And hopefully, Roger and John and I will see some of you there at PhenomeCon. I know that some of our viewers and subscribers were planning on being there, so it'll be a good time. Looking forward to seeing people like, like Jay and Michelle, obviously, and Johnny, and also got to give a shout out to Marilee and Annie,
Yep.
and a lot
All
of
the
our other
regulars.
friends. Yep, all of our regular crew are going to be there. Hopefully, Mr. Jeff Freeman will be able to make an appearance. We'd certainly love to see Jeff there, and all of our buddies from Skinwalker Ranch, and John, I don't know if Vernal's going to be able to handle having Caleb and I in the same town again
Yeah.
without one of us getting arrested for public indecency or something. Who knows? But
He's an instigator, that's for sure.
most definitely.
Bad,
But
bad influence.
yes, but in the best possible way.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, folks, be looking for that next weekend. We'll be back and we'll be talking. We'll give the full rundown of PhenomeCon, everything you could possibly want to know about PhenomeCon, coming up in our next episode of the Soul of the Unexplained. So, moving on from that, we'll just tie everything up. We'll just talk real briefly about this exciting legislation that we talked about previously in the last episode of the podcast, and that would be the UAP Disclosure Act, the UAPDA, which once again is being sponsored by Senator Chuck Schumer from New York and Senator Rounds, who I believe is from one of the Dakotas, South Dakota, maybe? I don't know. But Rounds and Schumer are sponsoring the UAPDA this year. And it's got quite a few people that are lending their support to it. And it looks, guys, like it's gonna clear the Senate. It looks like they've got the votes to get the UAPDA passed through the Senate. But as we mentioned last time, that wasn't the problem the first time they tried passing the UAPDA bill a couple years ago. It made it through the Senate just fine, and it died in the House because obviously we know there are a lot of representatives, primarily on one side of the aisle, which we won't go into, but they shot down the UAPDA previously, and so there's some hope that there's momentum behind this. They've changed the wording of some of the language that's in the bill, and it looks like it stands a good chance, certainly a better chance than it had previously a couple of years ago, of making it through the House and actually going before the president for passing it, signing it off into becoming law. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on what some of the latest news appears that it is gaining traction? It looks like it's going to clear the Senate. Do you guys think it stands that it has a shot of passing in the House?
You know, I'm not sure. It might. Um, this is a topic that I think they historically would rather not talk about. But I mean, yeah, this keeps coming up. I think the issue is probably not going to go away, and it might have enough momentum to pass, or at least to get a little further than it did last time. I don't know though. I
Mhm,
think the forces against it are pretty powerful and have
mhm,
pretty deep pockets.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I'm mostly concerned about the same stuff I was concerned about last time, primarily the eminent domain piece.
mhm,
I think as long as that's in there, it's almost a poison pill
mhm.
because that's saying, hey, if we pass this, we're giving the government the right to just step in and say, hey, we're from the government and we're taking your stuff, you
Right.
know,
Mhm,
and they would be taking that from defense contractors who also have extremely deep pockets and essentially have paid for a handful of senators and congressmen, to take care of stuff for them, right?
mhm,
So. I just don't know if the people with the money are going to let that pass. I just really don't think it'll happen. If it does pass, though, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I could foresee constitutional challenges on the eminent domain piece.
mhm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not all that hopeful, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not a legal expert, and I haven't read the full bill, so I
Mhm.
don't know what the details are. Maybe there are some mitigating details that, you know, would mean this might work out in a way that kind of works for everybody. I just don't
Right.
see how, if there are defense contractors out there that have been the recipients of this sort of material, let's say 40, 50, 60 years ago, and ever since then, they've been developing technology based on that. Even if they haven't been able to do anything with it, maybe the study of it has led to new technology.
Right.
Which portions of that fall under eminent domain? Is
Yep.
it only the original, whatever it is that they received, or
Mhm.
what? Like
Yeah.
where do you draw the line here? And I think we brought this up last time. What if uh, Lockheed got some stuff that Boeing didn't, and now Boeing's pissed off and they want to sue the government because they were unfairly treated relative to some other contractor.
Yeah. On y-
There's so many problems with it. I just don't know how it's going to work.
all excellent points, and I tend to agree with you pretty much on every single one of those points. Roger, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that if you're passionate about this bill, please contact your congressional representatives, contact your senators and their offices back in DC. If you go to the UAPDA.org, they can get you hooked up with all the different numbers or email addresses. Make your voice known. I'm happy to see that it'll get through the Senate. I'm a little bit skeptical about it going through the House, um, especially with what's going on. If you follow politics at all, anything right now, the country is definitely divided. And I'm not here to go through that or talk about that, but I think that some of the stuff that could give me a little hope that it could pass the House is the fact that an ally in the past was Senator Marco Rubio, who is now um, in Trump's circle, so to speak, and having his ear. I really think that if the people can show President Trump that this is important to America and it's important to our national security, I think he has the ability to really influence people in Congress. And that could be the angle that could work this time, is with him applying, his networking team and things like that. Is it a shot in the dark? Is it a long shot? Yes. Because as John, you mentioned, there is so much money that changes hand in our political system, and it really depends on, at the end of the day, what that bill is going to do for the country, for people that are affected by the bill. and things like that. So I think that there's some hope there, but really for me, it comes down to if you are passionate about this, like I am, like Jimm is, like John, contact your representatives in Congress and in the Senate and make your voices known of how important it is for you. Because I think that the more people that sign the petition and the more that they hear from their constituents like us, just regular people like us, then we are on that path to get the demanding the truth on UAP and understanding the ramifications it's had, not only currently, but in the past. So,
Yep, yep. And again, go to uapda.org and sign the petition.
Yep,
Just
yeah.
I did.
we're a little worried about it needs all the momentum it can get, even if there's some bits and pieces we might be worried about. Try
Yeah.
to get some more momentum. And I just thought of there's one other piece that I was concerned about is the review board. There's supposed to be 9 members in the review board, and um, I believe you're supposed to have a national security expert, a foreign service official, a scientist or engineer, an economist, a professional historian, a sociologist, and then 3 more additional members, with some broad expertise to bring extra perspective. I think the composition, the selection of the specific members to be on that board would be critically important.
Yeah.
And at this stage in our country's history, I have precisely zero hope that anyone of any competence would be selected for any of those
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah. No,
I
knowing,
mean,
knowing, knowing, knowing our luck, it's going to be people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and people.
well,
Yeah. No,
he'd be a
Sean
step up from the
Connery,
sort of
right?
people I'm thinking that would probably end up on here.
Yeah.
Like I just who that's one thing I want to find out is who determines the review board.
Right.
Like, I
Exactly.
mean,
Hmm.
if we had our choice, we know the sorts of people we would put in there. Although I did just see it says members must be impartial with no previous involvement in UAP programs, which means we couldn't, throw out a couple of names that we'd probably want to throw out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have no
Oh
uh
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see,
competent people.
something like that. I'd like to see people like, Dr. Gary Nolan, Jacques Vallée, but Jacques Vallée, as far as I'm aware, isn't an American citizen. If I'm wrong on that, then somebody correct me. But you
Well, it
know,
doesn't say they have to be American citizens, as far as I know.
hmm, so
But again, it says they can't have been involved in UAP
yeah,
program. Means probably none of the people we could name.
yeah,
Um, at first, at least off the top of our heads, I'm sure we could put together a list of people we respect
hmm,
that haven't had previous experience, but it's going to be difficult.
yeah,
I just worry that if you or I doubt everyone in there would be incompetent, but if you get the wrong mix of competence and incompetence,
yeah,
you're back at a stalemate again, which is
yeah.
what government seems to be really good at these days.
Oh
No
yeah.
matter which party you're in, there's a
There's
lot of competence to
there
go
is
around, right?
nothing as inefficient as government,
Yeah,
especially the federal
exactly,
government.
exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, I need to read the full bill and find out how that board is supposed to be selected.
yeah. So yeah, folks, it still probably is a bit of a long shot for it to pass through the House. I do think it makes it through the Senate just fine, and yeah, if it gets passed, then uh, that would be an indication that the tide has truly started to shift. But I don't, you know, I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're closer. I think we're closer than we were a couple of years ago when they first tried pushing this bill through. So if it fails this time, is Schumer and Rounds going to be willing to, you know, try it again next year or the year after? It's anybody's guess because a lot can happen between now and then. But definitely, folks, if it interests you, please go to again. The website is uapda.org/petition to sign the petition to let your congressperson know that you take this particular issue very seriously and you would like them to do the same when it comes to this legislation. So let's wrap up, gentlemen, with Roger. We have an update on Avi Loeb and this Atlas thing that is apparently headed our way. So do tell.
Yeah, so just really quickly to kind of round us out and end the podcast here, that there has Avi Loeb, who is a scientist, an Israeli American scientist, I think is an astronomer at Harvard, teaches at Harvard, um, pretty credentialed guy. So Dr. Loeb, they have found what they call the Three Eye or Atlas, and it's an interstellar um, object that is the size of Manhattan. So this is a huge, huge object, and it is coming through our solar system, and it's moving pretty quick. And I've read a few articles and about this, and there are um, based on its speed, its trajectory, passing by Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. Dr. Loeb has said that there's a really low chance that this is something that is natural based on its trajectory. And the hypothesis is that this could be some type of alien technology, some type of alien scout, especially because where it's positioned, its prime location is observing not only these planets, but Earth specifically. And due to its size and speed and trajectory, that is where this theory come from. So there's anything UAP, anything UFO, extraterrestrial is always split, right? You've got people that are backing him up saying, yes, based on what they're looking at through the telescopes, that this very could be, or this possibly could be an alien probe. It could be a scout. It could be something that is studying the Earth and the planets in our solar system. Are we alone? So it's kind of that Fermi paradox, the dark forest theory, I think, which is that we haven't seen extraterrestrial civilizations yet because they choose to be quiet. And the reason they choose to be quiet is that once you speak up, other civilizations will come conquer you, right? Nobody wants to
Oh,
wants to do that kind of stuff.
I'll give you a great reason to remain quiet. Uh, Raiders fans, uh, Broncos fans, Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals. I mean, uh, people that like Barney the talking dinosaur. Come on, people that eat guacamole. Eh. So, yeah, plenty of reasons why advanced civilizations would probably not want to answer any calls that Earth is putting out into deep space. So, yeah, sorry, just had to stick that little jab in there.
Lovely, lovely. No, so it's an interesting theory. Obviously, they're going to study it as it gets closer to the Earth, but again, I think this is the second time that we know about that an interstellar object has come from outside our solar system and made its way into where we are, and this is potentially could be life changing. And so if you haven't heard the news or whatnot, look it up. You can look at the Three Eye or Atlas object, but it is headed and it is headed here. So very interesting to say the least. Whether you believe in UFOs or extraterrestrials or whatnot, from the scientific point of view, I think this is great that we have an interstellar object that's coming that we have a chance to review, and hopefully it's not an alien probe and something hostile. That would not be good for Earth or whatnot, but we'll have to see. And again, whatever you think, this man, Dr. Loeb, he's the Harvard scientist, so he does have the credentials to, I think, make a theory and a hypothesis on this, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
I agree. I actually find Dr. Loeb's hypothesis to be very interesting. And here's one to make you think, to keep you up at night. What if Oumuamua was the first scout, right, from a non-human intelligence in deep space coming through our neck of the woods? And then this, is it 3i or 31 Atlas? I don't know which
I
what
called
I
it
think it's
31
3I.
last week. It's 3i.
it is 3i.
Yeah.
Okay,
My
so
mistake last week.
no worries. So 3i Atlas. What if 3I Atlas is another craft, interstellar craft from the same you know point of origin as Oumuamua. Assuming it Oumuamua was in fact something artificial and not just this really funky, flat looking, really weird shaped asteroid or something along those lines. So, uh, you know, I would not be the least bit surprised if it ends up being something truly out there, more out of like the pages of science fiction, because it seems more and more every day you say, the stuff we see in the news shouldn't be real, shouldn't be possible, but yet it's happening before our very eyes. And like John was saying, our society, particularly here in the United States, is so tribalistic. It's so divided, and people are always trying to find new ways to not like each other. And look at it from a bigger perspective. If you were from an advanced race of some kind and you were able to kind of eavesdrop in and see the way that planet Earth treats each other, I'd want to stay away too. Especially now that the cosmos must know that we have nuclear capability. We have the capability to destroy this planet many times over with nuclear weapons. So, whether whatever this thing is, and my stance is the same as it was last week. I will remain skeptical, but with an open mind when it comes to 3I Atlas or anything else. But I do think that Dr. Avi Loeb is a very credible, very seriously credentialed scientist. And if he's seeing things that give him reason to think that we may need to take a closer look at it, then I am all ears. But am I going to automatically glom onto that? Oh, this is aliens. It's
Doomsday, yeah.
ET. Yeah, I that's a jump I'm not willing to make personally right now anyway. But my mind is open enough that if more data shows that, and he can show us how he arrived at such a conclusion that determines that this really is some kind of artificial object, artificial meaning manufactured, and it's not an asteroid or a piece of a planet that got ejected into deep space, or a comet that's gone out, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of potential rational and mundane and prosaic explanations for what this 3I Atlas might be. But on the off chance that it is that really unique out there, and it's just kind of like the second wave of whatever Oumuamua was, then that would be, I guess what I would say is, if it turns out to be that is what it is, it wouldn't surprise me in the least, because that's just the way life and reality is going. If you were to tell me that, that this thing is going to be here in November, and it's going to be the moment of first contact, that we've always dreamed of having, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm not surprised.
Well, the interesting thing that he has said that I find just fascinating from a scientific point of view, he's quoted as, the orbit of the 3I Atlas coincides with the plane of Earth by only 5 degrees. The probability of such a coincidence occurring randomly is only 0.2%.
Wow.
That's astronomically, that's just I mean, that makes me take a step back and be like, that's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That the path that this thing is following, and heading towards the sun, and and how close it is getting to the planets.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. I
Well,
haven't heard
and
of anything like this in my lifetime, other than the previous interstellar object. So
yeah, and I'm definitely going to be paying close attention to this to see how the story develops. Because look at how much it's changed just in a week since we did our last podcast, right? So who knows? This time next week there may be even more news that is even more extraordinary. So again, I'm skeptical, but I have an open mind. Just
yeah.
show me that data, and I'm right there with you. So yeah.
It reminds me, there's an author named Peter Cawdron, Cawdron, who has written an entire series of books all on the same topic. Each one has nothing to do with each other, but it's his First Contact series. And they're all about different flavors of first contact. and one of his stories starts out just like this. Something,
Wow.
an interstellar object enters the solar system, starts heading towards Earth, and then kind of veers towards Earth, and then it slows down and parks itself in orbit.
Yep.
And so of course we're all thinking it's going to be something like that. That would be pretty surprising, but we have
Yeah.
pretty good telescopes and sensor capabilities now. So I think they're going to be keeping a close eye on it. And if it starts changing trajectory or speed,
Speed. Yeah.
either of those, something's up, right? Because
Right.
they'll know if it
Right.
tweaks its
And
course.
and I guess
Um,
then the question becomes, if that is in fact, let's go with the, let's play the speculation game one more time here before we say goodbye. But let's say that this ends up being just that it ends up being a moment of first contact, and this 3i Atlas does exactly what you just said, John. Um, how much trouble do you think the United States government and the other governments of the world are going to be in when something like that happens? How are they going to be able to say, oh, this is shocking to us? We can't believe. I mean, who honestly is going to believe whoever happens to be the president or prime minister of any given country that says, well, how about this? I mean, honestly, is it going to come as a surprise to anybody that something like that happens? I mean, for me, it wouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be like, wow, we're actually here at this moment. That's what it would be like for me. And I'll probably feel a whole bunch of different emotions if that day ever arrives. But if it arrives just like that, I mean, it's going to kind of make all these people that have been coming forward not look so crazy after all, especially if we find out that, this is a civilization that's been here before, especially if it's a situation like that. So,
Well, until
um,
they show up, they arrive, they park in orbit, they check us out again, realize that, yeah, we're more advanced, but we're still basically chimpanzees crapping in our hands and throwing it at each other. And just like, all right, we
well,
need to let it took a
that,
little
that's
longer.
that's
Let's
that's that's
get out of here.
that's just a Raiders home game. Come on, I mean,
That's
let's.
true. Good point.
Yes, indeed. Well, Roger, thank you so much for the update on that. And yeah, we're going to be watching that story. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it this week, but we'll also make sure in another upcoming episode we provide an update on the work that Dr. Beatriz Villarroel is doing, because there's some amazing developments with the project that she's working on with those astronomy plates that we touched upon last time. So stay tuned for more details on that. But to let's go around the room here real quickly and closing thoughts and remarks. And John, we'll start with you.
No, I just once again, thanks for letting me come and hang out with you guys. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, sir. Roger, how about you?
Just I'll echo the same sentiment. It's great to see you guys, and it's great to talk about these things. Thank you to our listeners and subscribers. Um, I can't tell you how much that I appreciate you, and I know Jim and John appreciate you. We love the topics that we talk about. We're passionate about these things. And as always, if you have questions, let us know. I hope all of you have a fantastic week ahead, and looking forward to our next time getting together next week to do our PhenomeCon review. I know I'm looking forward to talking about it and doing what we did last time, talking about our maybe top 3 to 5 speakers in the past and why we are so passionate about and what we love about these speakers. So I hope everyone has a fantastic week and stay safe out there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Roger. And I'll just echo what both you and John said. John, it's always such a pleasure to have you join us here on the Sold the Unexplained. And can't wait to have you back here next weekend to talk about PhenomeCon. And Roger, same as well. Wish both of you the very best. Hope you guys have an awesome week. And John, I hope you're able to get some rest. And me too, because I've been awake.
Yeah, you
I'm
do more than I do,
operating.
I think.
Folks, I'm operating on 4 hours of sleep for the last 72 hours, so it's amazing that I'm still upright. But but no, folks, if you like what you saw, then hit that subscribe button down here somewhere and smash that like button for us. leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this most recent episode of The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. What are your thoughts on the chances of the UAPDA legislation passing? What are your thoughts on Three Eye Atlas? And of course, if you've been to PhenomeCon or if you're going to PhenomeCon, then tell us about that in the comments as well. And with that, folks, just like I always like to say, make sure love one another, take care of one another, be nice to bunnies because I like bunnies, and eat lots of tacos because doggone it, tacos are awesome. And yeah, just try to be a better person than you were yesterday, and try whatever you can to do to lift others up instead of tear them down because we need more of that in our society, more peacemakers and people that are willing to just get back to what it means to respectfully disagree whenever we have disagreements with one another. And life shouldn't be that miserable, and it doesn't have to be. And I'm convinced of that. So, gentlemen, thank you again, and folks, we will see you next time right here on the Soul of the Unexplained. See ya.